Welcome to the worst of the best podcast. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't freaking make it. So here's what you get. From Canada, Ryan and
Jason. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I am joined with my brother Jason. It's always good to have my brother on. And Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, brother?
Doing well. I think this episode will come out after the Ghost album review episode. It was a very interesting discussion, Jay. It was the longest episode in Worst of the Best history.
Oh.
And yeah, great co-host Kaylee and Andy. And the title of it, Ghost Skeleton Album Review for Ghost Haters, Lovers, and In-Betweeners. Because that's kind of what we brought to the table. We had one who doesn't like Ghost, one who was like, oh yeah, some songs I like, some I don't, and then me who loves the album. And it was kind of great. I didn't get blindsided per se. That wasn't the intent of the other co-host, but everyone came in cold with their thoughts, so I got to hear everyone's thoughts live. It was fun. It was very engaging conversation, and I hope people enjoyed that. If you're listening to this and didn't listen to it and you like rock and roll, that's the easiest way. If you just like rock and roll, check out the snippets of the songs I produce and show up. It's a good rock album. So it's just one.
I can envision what the hate is, just because I can, in my own mind, critique what it is that the main dude is doing. I don't know, is Jorg, which is the guy's name?
Tobias Forge.
I can envision exactly what he's doing, the formulas in which he is creating his music. Don't see that as a critique. I can just say that as somebody who enjoys music. Yeah. I understand what it is that he's doing.
And he understands what he's doing.
Yes, exactly. It's very purposeful.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean it's bad.
No, we'll put it this way. It's like, I like chocolate ice cream. They make it so it's yummy. They know what they're making, and people enjoy it.
There's very calculated ways in which I can make music accessible to a lot of people in a particular genre.
Fun. It's just fun. And I like having fun.
Clearly he's talented.
He's very talented. And actually, he's also a very nice, humble guy. Like, he actually is a cool guy, which is a big plus. Mm-hmm. He just comes across as very unassuming. He himself is a fan of music. He loves the music you and I grew up with. He's friends with James Hetfield and Metallica. He's humble. He's sweet, down to earth. He doesn't want fame, but he enjoys rock and rolling. It's all the good stuff that you would want from a star.
He's an entertainer.
Yeah.
Like, you look at a show and I'm like, okay, I know exactly. But I don't see that as a critique. I just see that as an understanding.
Right. Some people hate wrestling. There's another example. It's performative art, stunt in the ring, but my wife cannot stand. She would be kicking and screaming if I took her to a WWE show, but I would have a great time. So there's no accounting for whatever. People just enjoy what they enjoy. But Kaylee, that's who didn't like or doesn't like Ghost. She had great points and stuff, and I don't want to spoil anything because you haven't heard it yet, but you would have by now. But she doesn't come around per se, but we all came together hearing each other. And that's what made it a very good discussion, is because nothing that was said is wrong, because it's just everyone's feelings on things. So that's what makes a good conversation, right? Yeah, I had fun doing that. Let's go into this one. Jay, this one's a bit of a hodgepodge of topics. What I mean, we have supernatural stuff. We have natural stuff. What's the word? World natural phenomenons. And we have some little bit of true crime. So this is a hodgepodge of unraveled enigmas. So these are 10 incidents that don't have answers. That's the key thing here, Jay. So these are events throughout the world that we just don't have answers to.
And heaven knows that we research these to confirm that there is no answers to these enigmas. We really try to find answers to try and come up with these answers. There's no answers.
There's no answers to these.
There's no answers to these.
So if you are a listener of the show, You could email us the answer to any one of these, or what you think the answer might be, or comment below. We appreciate the interaction. We haven't had an email in a long, long time. One day, Jay, one day we might get an email. We've had a couple over the years, but it's been a while since we've
been a handful.
Yeah. Every now and then we get a YouTube comment. So let us know. So, Jason, what I suggest we do is we can give our own answers, what things might be, because some of these will elicit that conversation. Some of these, or most of these, do elicit a conversation as to what do you think, Jay, and I'm going to give my answers to what could some of the stuff be, or answers to some of these questions. And these are fascinating stories. I think some of these you've heard about. Here we go. There's two that are kind of the same. You'll see why, but they are different enough that I didn't want to combine them, because one is actually a specific location that's been dealing with this for a long time, and that is the Outer Hebrides. I could be pronouncing that wrong. It's a 130-mile island chain with 28,000 residents. It's kind of cool. And on the Isle of Lewis, there's 200 people that live there, Jake, just 200. And they're consistently tormented by what they call the Hebridean hum. The Hebridean hum. It's a persistent 50 hertz low frequency sound, and it's most intense on the East Coast. This hum disrupts sleep, causes dizziness, headaches, ears fluttering, and difficulty focusing. So much so, Jay, that in April 2025 of this year, this is a fairly new, a senior educator running a Facebook support group noted the hum growing louder and more intrusive, leaving residents distressed and isolated. Theories on its cause range from a local sewage plant to idling cargo ships, power stations, or even a mysterious submarine. Some compare it to the Earth's rotation, but no theory has been confirmed. But the hum remains an unresolved, distressing mystery for the affected islanders. If you were there, that must drive people crazy.
Yeah, like you would go crazy.
Like a
yeah, you can stop that. It wouldn't take long for me just to go insane. It's like a mosquito buzzing in your ear as you sleep. There's nothing more distracting than a sound like that.
See if I can find what a 50 hertz hum sounds like.
Dude,
Ooh, ow.
That's pretty ominous, eh?
Oh, that feels weird. My neck is tingling a little bit. In the back of my head. You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that hurts. And that's not even loud, but it feels thick.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Jay, this gentleman here explains a little bit further what people are experiencing.
Remote Isle of Lewis, a sound with no source has taken hold. It's a deep, mechanical hum, measured at 50 hertz, low enough to be felt as much as heard. Residents across the island report sleepless nights, pressure behind the eyes, and a pulsing sensation that never fades. It isn't local infrastructure. It's not wind. The frequency appears on recording equipment. It's real, but it doesn't belong. Investigations have ruled out turbines, substations, and maritime traffic. The signal isn't strongest near any particular site. It spreads across the island, constant but untraceable. Offshore origins are being considered, but nothing matches the signal's behavior or reach. This isn't the first time. Identical hums have surfaced in Taos, Windsor, and Auckland, each separated by oceans, but all carrying the same signature. Same tone, same symptoms, same silence from official investigations. Now, as the sound embeds itself deeper into the fabric of Lewis, the question isn't whether it's real, it's why it returns, why it always follows the same pattern, and why, after decades of recordings, it still has no name, no origin, and no end.
So decades, according to that researcher.
I don't know what it would be. I mean, if they can't find anything, could it be a governmental experiment where they're just like, okay, well, it's a small enough population. Let's just see what the impact is on these people.
Well, it's not a horrible theory.
We've heard of these type of like, you know, I know there's something in Cuba where certain people would be impacted by sound. I forget the name of that thing. Some people will understand what I'm saying, where American government employees or whatever will feel they're being audibly attacked.
Right.
I'm sure there's a lot of different systems out there, weaponized systems that we aren't privy to, obviously. Maybe it's something like that. Hey, there's 200 people-ish. Let's see how they're impacted, mentally fatigued.
That's good. Number 2, Jay, the next one.
On May 13th, 2023, dozens of Bornholm, Denmark residents reported strong tremors, prompting a seismological investigation that ruled out an earthquake. Occurring 20 minutes after a minor blast in Poland, scientists dismissed it as the cause. That same day, about 10 tremor reports emerged from southern Sweden, north of Bornholm. Experts suggested atmospheric pressure waves as a possible trigger, but their sources remain unidentified. Unexplained seismic events aren't rare, and on November 11, 2018, seismic waves radiated globally for 20 minutes, originating 50 miles off Mayoette's shore, spanning Africa to Hawaii. Remarkably, no one felt them, and only one Twitter user monitoring the U.S. Geological Survey's live seismogram noticed the unusual zigzag signal. The experts deemed these waves too uniform for a natural source, leaving their cause a mystery.
A series of mysterious tremors originating from the Danish Baltic island of Bornholm have left scientists baffled. What makes this situation truly astounding is that these tremors were not caused by an earthquake. Despite occurring roughly 20 minutes after a potential minor blast in Poland, the scientists do not believe that it was the cause of the peculiar shaking. Researchers suggest that atmospheric pressure waves, specifically acoustic pressure waves, might have triggered these tremors. Acoustic waves, also known as sound waves, transmit energy from vibrating objects and induce oscillations in the medium they traverse, such as air. However, the exact source of these pressure waves remains unknown. Such unexplained tremors are not uncommon on a global scale. The Swedish National Seismic Network disclosed that their network received approximately 10 reports of tremors from the southern part of Sweden, just north of the island. This occurrence indicates that similar events happen several times per year. While one plausible explanation for these tremors could be supersonic airplanes breaking the sound barrier, no records of such activity were found in the vicinity during the reported incidents. These enigmatic tremor reports without a clear geological cause are not exclusive to Scandinavia. In Canada, individuals report ground shaking frequently, yet subsequent analysis of the seismographs often fails to identify natural earthquakes or other geological activities, such as mining blasts or heavy construction. Deciphering the seismological signals in these cases poses a challenge, given the multitude of phenomena capable of inducing ground shaking. In Canada, for example, frost quakes occur when saturated soil freezes rapidly, a phenomenon that commonly takes place. Most of the time, researchers are still determining the cause of these events and can only offer suggestions based on their knowledge of earthquake-like characteristics. Seismometers play a pivotal role in comprehending the dynamics of Earth beyond geological activities. These instruments record vibrations occurring on Earth, encompassing earthquakes, human activities like urban traffic or explosive detonations, the perpetual motion of Earth's oceans, atmospheric phenomena like hurricanes, and even meteors colliding with Earth's atmosphere. Such technological advancements have enabled scientists to capture increasingly subtle vibrations, thereby deepening our understanding of the interconnected nature of Earth's diverse phenomena.
Yeah, the Earth is a busy place. Like, in fact, Metallica had a concert, I forget where, but the crowd and the loudness of the concert or whatever, it actually triggered, that's what they're talking about. They're pieces of equipment that seismographs triggered a quake, so to speak. The noise level or whatever shook the earth, and or the volume shook the earth, the sound waves that it triggered a...
Well, the crowd...
Yeah. The noise, the seismic noise is what they're saying too. I think in particular, they're saying, yes, we understand that we can pick up sounds from the ocean, traffic, concerts, jets blasting off, and earthquakes, of course. What's happening in Denmark is none of that stuff is happening, yet they're still getting noise from the earth.
It sounds to me like the atmospheric pressure changes. Seems like a reasonable explanation. Air moves, and if there's an atmospheric pressure change or rapid change, the feeling as if the ground is moving, but it's more like the pressure moving through you. It's like a subwoofer, right? You can feel the air of a subwoofer pushing air around you.
Yeah, okay.
It would feel like, it feels like the earth's shaking.
Yes, that's an interesting one. This is another, one has a hum in your ear, but then you have another one on the ground. It's basically shaking. No one knows why, but they're strong enough that people are reporting this. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And there's a seismological investigation takes place, and it's not an earthquake. They're like, we don't know.
Right.
That's interesting. The Earth is weird, man. This Earth is weird. There's so much we don't know, from sounds to shaking. Who knows? All right. This one's interesting, Jay. Ooh, this one's scary. This is the Mako Cuddy cabin boat. You ever heard of the Mako Cuddy cabin boat, Jay?
No.
Okay, so it was around New Year's 2021. A 29-foot Mako Cuddy cabin boat carrying 20 passengers vanished after departing Bimini for Lake Worth Beach, Florida, within the Bermuda Triangle. Reported missing on January 1st, 2021, it prompted an 84-hour search covering 17,000 square miles, yielding no clues. The passengers' identities and the boat's name were never disclosed, deepening the mystery. 6 months later, on June 24th, 2021, fishermen found a drifting boat off Turks and Caicos with 20 dead passengers, including 2 children. The Royal Turks and Caicos police ruled out foul play, noting the boat likely originated outside the Caribbean and wasn't destined for the islands. Again, no identities were released, and no connection to the Mako Cuddy incident was confirmed. Speculation points to human trafficking, as the region is a known route for smugglers, with cases like the 2019 conviction of a trafficker smuggling 158 people. Both incidents remain unexplained. So both the missing 29-foot Mako Cuddy cabin boat and that found boat with 20 dead passengers remain unexplained as of May 2025, with sparse details fueling theories of smuggling or abandonment at sea.
Why would you want to take a cruise in the Bermuda Triangle? That'd be a no-go. Let's take a 3-hour cruise to the Bermuda Triangle.
Would you ever travel there?
I'm not specifically sure where Bimini for Lake Worth Beach is, but I've always wanted to go to the Turks and Caicos.
Oh.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty awesome little place to hang out for a couple days. But they're saying these 20 people that were found have nothing to do with the 20 people that went missing. Is that what they're saying?
They're not confirming or denying the 2.
Right. So I would suspect that it is some type of human trafficking. Could the government be complicit?
Ago, almost to the day, a boat carrying 20 people going from Bimini to Lake Worth through the Bermuda Triangle completely disappeared. The Coast Guard searched for them for a few weeks, and there was absolutely no trace of them, so they eventually called off the search, and that was it. Articles about the situation ran while the search was conducted, but once it was called off, that was it, and people just did not talk about it. They completely dropped it, and the names of the 20 people were never even released. We still don't know their identities 4 years later. But 20 people were found washed up off Turks and Caicos in June 2021. Those paying attention, yes, that would be about 6 months later. The news reported that these were probably African or Haitian smugglers. There is no proof that that's who they were. That is a theory that one news outlet suggested and other news outlets ran with it, but we have no proof because we don't know who these 20 people were, just like we don't know who the first group of 20 people were. Imagine that that was your loved one on that boat, and you never had closure, you never found out for sure that they were even on that boat to begin with, and you're still wondering where they are 4 years later.
My take on it, after hearing her kind of talk about it, I suspect the first boat was overtaken by the second boat. Pirates, smugglers. Obviously something happened to the first group, and the second group that's been found are the consequence of the initial boat being hijacked, pirated, or whatever, and they lost their lives at sea. Why none of these people's names are released, or as far as we know, families aren't contacted, but maybe there are groups of people that have been, just so you know, we found your loved ones or whatever that might be. Just because it's not public doesn't mean the loved ones don't know.
Yeah.
But why it's a secret, I don't know.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's an interesting one. Hodgepodge.
What do you think?
I hate to say it, probably something not above board was happening either way with the initial departure, and then of course the 20 dead people. That's probably something that's
it's not just a coincidence.
Yeah. All right, you got the next one.
In early May 2025, A viral CCTV video from an unnamed Chinese factory raised concerns about AI humanoid robots. The footage showed 2 workers activating a robot suspended from a crane, only for it to suddenly flail its arms, seemingly attacking them and knocking over a computer. The workers struggled to subdue it until one pulled the crane back. The cause of this tantrum remains unclear, fueling debates about robotic safety. NVIDIA, a key robot manufacturer, downplayed the incident, emphasizing that their robots are designed to boost productivity alongside humans, such as loading boxes or aiding in customer service. However, NVIDIA acknowledged the robot's degrees of freedom. Interesting use of words. Stressing the need to monitor algorithms to prevent misinterpretations and risks. I have seen that video.
Let's show our viewers on YouTube the video. It's pretty, it is kind of unnerving. Here it is. The robot just, it is flipping out. You could argue that, yes, it's just malfunctioned, but it almost looks like the way you would act, Jay, if you were on a rope and you were like trying to get off being hinged, and it almost seems like he's really focused on the human, and he's turned around, it's looking for targets almost. That's unnerving to watch that, is it not?
So my initial thought is that it's a malfunction, but now reviewing the video again with different eyes here,
it's like it's looking around.
It does look like it's focused on the person. But what's interesting is when I want to see it one more time. Why does the guy that's sitting down look like he's worried when they turn it on? He already looks concerned. The guy that's backing up, when he turns it on, or looks like he's turning it on, he looked nervous to begin with.
Honestly, I think he's just doing like as an observatory look. Like he is about to turn on and do something. He's observing. I'm going to turn this thing on now. I don't think he was expecting something bad to happen. I think he's paying close attention to the robot. I think he turns on the on switch. Like, okay, whoa. I think he's like, okay, this is.
Robot's like legitimately going after him.
Yeah.
Oh, but then in that case there, at the very end, the robot isn't looking at him. It's, I don't know, lost subject tracking for a second. It appears at first glance that this thing is targeting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I'm pro AI. Let's do it. Skynet. Let's go. Wipe out humanity.
Well, the thing is whether you're for it or against it, it doesn't change the reality of what's going to occur.
No,
so far it's fun. So far in my daily life, it's a bonus. We know machine learning has been around for a long time.
They did it with chess, man against machine for chess. It was just AI, the chess player versus human, the robot versus human. I mean, that was in the 80s. Yeah. It's a fascinating discussion. We might have to do an AI-centric episode one day, but all I'll say is that people get mad about the AI videos and art. My response is, it's just CGI. All it is CGI with prompts. CGI is just prompts. It's just coding that humans put in and say, make me the Terminator or make me Star Wars. It's just computer graphic imagery. AI is the same thing. It's just computers making computer imagery. You have to give it prompts.
Well, right now, the thing is not in a negative way. I'm just going to say that's a simplistic explanation. For us consuming entertainment on a funny reel or something like that is very different than what these robots and other technological advances are happening in the background. That's what people are worried about. I'm not worried about AI helping me rewrite a paragraph or CGI for funny. That's funny. Or it's going to make me a movie quicker.
People are upset about that. That's what I'm getting at.
Because they're losing their ability to be creative and unique. We're taking away a lot of these creative people's, that's their thing in life. We're taking away their ability to be validated as a creative individual.
Maybe I don't know enough about AI. If AI can make me a better Mission Impossible film, let's just say, or whatever, a spy action thriller, then the onus is on the human to do better. I don't know how that works. Can an AI literally just make a movie that blows me away and you're saying not one human worked on this film? I don't know what to do with that, because if the movie truly is a lot of fun to watch, I'm sorry that I enjoyed it.
I think you can be entertained by both, because we clearly are entertained by both.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's really the argument with AI. is
that's what I've heard. People they're being cheapened. That the experience is cheapened. It's a combination of the experience is cheapened. You see it on comments all the time. Oh, this is AI. It's stupid. Like, well, actually, it was kind of fun. So that's what I mean. People are literally saying because it was an AI video.
That's the very low bar of AI in my eyes. Is entertainment. That's I don't think what the legitimate concern of AI. Let's say we have people who are in the AI space who are developing AI and they give a warning or concern about AI. They aren't going, oh, I'm worried about how we're going to be entertained. I'm worried about the Skynet thing.
There's the Skynet. Yes,
that's the bigger, in my eyes, the bigger, because the other things, to me, is just subjective. And I can appreciate both. There's multiple layers to the AI conversation, and it just kind of depends. For example, AI replacing medical doctors and stuff. Whoa. As far as I can tell at this point in my life, AI is not a negative. Will I always feel that way? I don't know, because I don't know how it will be implemented long term for us normal individuals living 9-to-5 existences. I don't know what that's going to look like. As far as I can see so far, it looks like a net benefit. So I'm not worried about it yet.
I think it's like the internet's not all bad, but there's bad stuff on it. Guns aren't all bad, but there's bad uses for it. It's like everything. It's just...
Yeah.
All right. The next one, Jay, this one's fascinating. I almost combined this one with the hum of that little island at the beginning, but it's something different because that was a 50 hertz hum. This is something a little bit different. You may have heard this before. Have you ever heard of skyquakes? Skyquakes are also known as sky trumpets. They're mysterious atmospheric sounds reported globally near lakes, oceans, and rivers in places like India, Argentina, Canada, the US, and Japan. Described as a horror movie-like loud bangs akin to artillery at times or horn-like noises, their origins remain unclear. The first recorded skyquake occurred in New Madrid, Missouri during a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, with locals hearing artillery-like sounds. Regional names vary, such as the Seneca guns in New York or the Yumi-Neri sea cries in Japan. Scientists propose theories like air pressure changes, lake gas releases, airplanes, or seismic activity, but no definitive cause has been confirmed. The phenomenon continues to intrigue and elude explanation.
Leading theories for the cause of skyquakes are the shifting of tectonic plates, or maybe something to do with the Earth's magnetic field. A geological explanation would be easy to prove, but so far, nothing. Clearly, something is going on because everybody in the area can hear sky trumpets and skyquakes. But there are sounds that only a small percentage of people can hear, and those people are not the lucky ones.
People are now starting to hear these really scary and loud noises all across the sky, all over the world, but scientists still do not know what they are. They're saying that there's a lot of potential theories to what is going on, but there's not a definitive answer. Scientists have considered that the booms may be meteors exploding in the atmosphere, military testing, or even related to storms or earthquakes. However, people are hearing it without storms or earthquakes. Even though everybody's calling these skyquakes right now, seismologists are unsure whether tectonic activity and these sounds are even linked in the first place. And then if you want to hear what I'm talking about, this is the video.
Strange sounds are being heard around the world. In Sweden, this sure sounds like a trumpet. In Michigan, another trumpet-like sound.
And there's one more. I've got some actual home footage of someone recording something.
So I've been hearing some strange noises outside now for a bit. I'll open the window to show you. It's really strange. I don't know what it is, but it's starting to freak me out a bit.
You hear that? It's very odd.
It's almost like a musical triangle vibration tuning fork.
Yeah, that's right. That, or you're rubbing your finger around the rim of a glass. Space type thing. What are your thoughts might be on that?
Unfortunately, it's hard to know exactly if they're all the same thing. There could be multiple sounds that people aren't understanding why they are hearing it. That's the trick. Is it a singular sound? Now, the other, it's got to be just atmospheric pressure changes.
Yeah, it could be that too. Yeah, it could be that too.
It seems sporadic.
Yeah, to hear it probably live in person because it sounds distant and far and high. Even with that video, kind of sound like it would be unsettling to. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
All right, you got the next one.
On May 12th, 1947, 22-year-old Christina eloped with a 26-year-old Jack Kettlewell and honeymooned in a remote cabin in Seven Falls, Ontario, owned by Jack's friend Ronald Berry. 8 days later, the cabin burned down, and Christina was found dead, face down in a 9-inch pool of river water nearby, with drowning as the cause of death. Dubbed the 8-Day Bride, her death raised suspicions. No smoke was found in her lungs or burns on her body, despite wearing pajamas from the fire night, suggesting she wasn't in the cabin during the blaze. Investigations revealed Barry was the beneficiary of 2 $5,000 life insurance policies with double indemnity for accidental deaths. Allegations surfaced as a romantic affair between Jack and Barry, with claims they plotted Christina's death. Christina's history included 2 suicide attempts, supported by notes. No charges were filed, leaving unanswered whether Jack, Barry, or Christina herself caused her death.
20th, 1947, the body of 22-year-old Christina Kettlewell was found 150 feet away from her honeymoon cottage. Her remains were found in just 9 inches of water on the banks of a river in Seven Falls, Ontario. 8 days prior, Christina had eloped with 26-year-old war veteran Jack Kettlewell. Jack had a friend named Ronald Berry who strangely joined them on their honeymoon. During this time, it was reported that Christina started to act out of character. She seemed dazed, would go into crying fits, and questioned Jack's love for her. On May 20th, Christina disappeared and Ronald's cabin mysteriously caught on fire. Ronald allegedly returned to the cabin to find a disoriented Jack with a head injury and pulled him out of the flames, but Christina couldn't be found. Christina's body was free from burns and an autopsy found traces of codeine in her stomach, but her death was declared a drowning. Jack claimed to not remember anything past 11 a.m. that day. The police report claimed that there were signs and evidence that Christina was very upset by the unnatural conduct of her husband and Ronald. And despite possible theories, including that Christina took her own life, the case remains unsolved.
So I got a pretty obvious theory on this one. So I think the 2 guys were lovers. And of course, you can't be gay back then. He's a war veteran. He marries her, but she has money that she has an insurance that they can collect. So I think they were lovers and they killed her. For some reason, so Jack, the guy, the widower, after her 8-day wife's death in 47, he remarried in 1950, had a son named Richard. And he also separated from his second wife in 69, never divorcing, just got separated. But he became a minor celebrity because of this case, people signing autographs during the inquest, but remained reserved, rarely discussing the case. He died in 1998. I think he might have been in a closet, He married again and got divorced again. Now, Ronald, the friend of Jack's, who hung out with Jack and Christina at the honeymoon lodge, he continued to live his life discreetly. In 56, he moved to New York, leaving behind a dog, Ling, with Jack's son. So he left his dog to his friend's son. No further trace of him exists after this, and his fate remains unknown. I think Ronald and Jack had a love affair. And she got killed in the process. This is what's fascinating is because that other video talked about how she was acting strange. She was kind of weirded out by her husband and the friend, which everything but saying, "Are you gay?" for Ronald, Jack, are you and Ronald together? So she probably caught wind, and she was killed for her silence or for her jealousy or both. Who knows? By maybe Ronald. Because Ronald apparently was injured inside the house, he was disoriented at the house. Or was it him or Jack? One of them was injured at the house. She's drowned in a small pool of water. House is burnt down. There goes all the evidence. But they're not officially charged. That's bad policing, I think, Jay, and bad questioning. I think if this same crime verbatim happened today, there would
there would be.
I think this is 1940s forensics and bad policing. I hate to say it, no offense to the 1940s police, but policing 80 years ago was probably well, you said you didn't do it. All right. You're a war veteran? Cool. Yeah, she had too much to drink. She drowned, and yeah, I left the cigar in the ashtray or on the carpet. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they lured her into a marriage to get the insurance.
Yeah.
They took advantage of her, obviously.
Yeah. All right. This next one. Have you heard of this one, Jay? This is the San Francisco train sabotage. You heard of this one? So on August 12th, 1939, the city of San Francisco train traveling to Oakland derailed near Harney, Nevada, killing 24 passengers and injuring 121, including crew, of course. Engineer Ed Hecox, running 30 minutes late, had increased the speed to 90, which, sure. The derailment occurred due to a deliberately misaligned rail patch, confirmed by tools found in the Humboldt River, indicating sabotage. Hecox survived and alerted emergency services. A $10,000 bounty to catch the culprits, now keep in mind this is 39, yielded no results. The media at the time, Jay, accused Southern Pacific Railroad of fabricating the sabotage to cover negligence. But the company and FBI maintained the rails were intentionally tampered with. A 1995 Arizona derailment showed similar sabotage tactics, yet the perpetrators of that and this 1939 incident were never identified, leaving both tragedies an unresolved mystery. Somebody sabotaged the train tracks on purpose, and the train got derailed. That is murder, my friends. So here's just some of the wreckage here. There's no audio here. But look at the wreckage of this train. Look at that. That's quite the footage they have for 1939. It's pretty good. Ooh, wow. So it was going about 90 miles per hour and it derailed. That would be very scary for all the passengers involved. 24 people died. You know what's kind of interesting when you think of this kind of thing, Jay? I always wonder, so 121 people survived and or only got injured. I wonder who was the least injured? Who literally had the least amount of injury? Like, I wonder where they were and how that happened. To walk away with like a sprained pinky or something.
Right.
We had 24 deaths, so those are pretty bad. Probably had some decapitations, who knows what, head smushed. But then we had those who didn't die. I wonder who walked off the train like, so everyone okay? Somebody must have walked off just not rattled, sure, but no injuries. Yeah, it's weird. Think about plane crashes too when you hear about 7 people surviving the plane crash, but the other 80 passengers died. Where were those 7 passengers? What was the physics inside the plane, the landing, where they survived it, but everyone else?
Right, yeah. It's like when you put a pair of, I don't know, like old school wired headphones into your pocket, and then it comes out like a big knot.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I'd like to be able to see time lapse somehow of how that all gets into a knot. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. What do you?
I think it was sabotage for sure. I think there's tools at the time. The question is, they're wondering who did. Like, was it? Some of the media accused them sabotaging themselves to cover negligence, which is weird. I don't know what the negligence would be over, but
did somebody try to rob the train? The derailment to look like that?
It could have been somebody who was a unhappy.
Because there was tools found, right? So someone's like, I'm gonna make it so this train kind of crashes a little bit, and then we rob the train.
Yeah, I don't hear any robberies. It's just probably
there's tools, right? So somebody did something
to the track.
Yeah.
All right. You got the next one, Jay. This one's weird.
In 1994, Ed and Mary Woods moved into a Washington home where after 7 months, paranormal events began. Mary heard a persistent music box sound tracing to Ed's office, but found no source. Ed experienced doorknob jiggling and no one present, despite Mary and their daughter being asleep. A seismologist ruled out seismic causes. The disturbances escalated. Mary saw a ghostly woman in a flannel nightgown resembling a deceased former resident, while Ed saw a mustached man in a ribbon tie and a giggling young girl. Objects floated in the house. Ghost expert Lloyd Orbach investigated, finding high electromagnetic pollution, but no natural explanation. The case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries and on Larry King Live.
Larry King dead. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just our only haunting one. We could do an episode. Maybe we'll one day of hauntings. But can you imagine this poor couple, Jay? It's 94. You're in your home. You're there for a few months, and then things just start happening. The doorknobs shaking, and you see spectral figures in nightgowns, and it says here it resembled to look like the former resident. I guess they had a picture or something of them. I don't know. A mustache man in a ribbon tie, giggling young girl, objects themselves floating in the house. Honestly, Jay, how would you react to all of this? Would you just resolve that the house is haunted?
It would take a moment or two to get over it. It would be very alarming to experience it initially. I don't know if I really have experienced. I think I've experienced illusions, kind of partially asleep or whatever. I'm not talking about just like sleep paralysis, but I may have seen things on occasion. I'm thinking of one specific house.
Being half asleep, those were easily debunked, you could say.
Yeah, that's why I'm not including that in what I'm talking about. Like, I know that those things are legit, but there's been like a few times where, actually, I'll say 2 homes where it felt a little bit dark. The energy was kind of dark in the home. A home in Port Coquitlam.
Oh.
And then Hillside, where you guys lived as well.
Hillside, remind me?
The co-op.
Oh, really? Those places? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, do you mind sharing the Hillside? Well, you don't have to. You don't want to, because we both shared that residence. When you moved out, we moved in, but nothing happened there for me.
I'm not saying it was like all the time, but there was a couple times in the master bedroom where I felt like there was something kind of
really
dark look. Yeah.
I'm glad you never told me. I'm glad you never mentioned it when I moved in, because I'm very sensitive to that stuff. Because I've had stuff happen in the PMQ that we moved into after there. Maybe it followed me. Maybe it followed me because you hear about those stories, right? The one time in that PMQ military house, because they're old. They were old back then, and this was now 20 odd years ago. That house was haunted, legit. There was footsteps on the floor. That was always a weird one. Like, we're talking not walking, we're talking running up the stairs. The first time I heard it, I was downstairs in the bottom basement floor playing video games. I was off work. My wife at the time was at work. Kids were at school. And I heard the running upstairs. Like, why are the kids home? It's like 10 in the morning or whatever it was. Why are they home? Running up the stairs from school. So I went, hey boys, guys? Hello? What the? I'm thinking, was that the cat? The cat doesn't sound like kids running. I've heard the cat 100 times. I look around the house. No one's in the house. I'm like, okay. But then it happened a few more times. So it got to the point where it's like, oh, that's just what happens in this house. The boys were afraid of their room, like terrified of their I can say it now because they're older. It doesn't matter. They're adults now. But I personally felt bad making them sleep in their room because I felt like there was a presence in their room. Like there's something dark in their bedroom. I would close their door and it would open at night. Like I'd always they never got up to go pee at night. They weren't those type of kids. And I would get up to go to the bathroom. And every time I woke up, their door was open again. Like I'd close it, it would open again. Then the one last incident was I was down in the game room again. Logan comes out, Dad, the frying pan's spinning. So he saw the frying pan spin on the stove. The biggest one was in our room. It scared me to death. You're going to sleep, but you're not asleep, but you heard Ryan. And that scared. To this day, I go to bed with a sound machine. I will never be scared again by that. Someone called out my name, and I cannot handle the silence in my room anymore. I thought it was my wife, but it wasn't. It was because it was above the bed. It wasn't like beside my ear. It was like at the foot of the bed in my room because I shot up to look for the person saying my name. Yeah, so the one in Hillside, it felt like there was like a Grim Reaper at the end of my bed. A few times. Did you see it or just felt it? I think I did. Ugh. It's kind of like a mix of feeling and visual, an interpretation maybe of the feeling. Sure. But I specifically feeling like there was something literally standing at the end of my bed looking at me. And that was a couple times at Hillside. Yeah, got it. Okay. And maybe it followed me. Yeah. And then similar in the home in Port Coquitlam. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe one day we'll do a haunted, maybe Halloween time, Jay. True hauntings. Okay. Last one for me. Now, this I did not know about. Have you ever heard of a place called Antigua? So over the past 2 years, at least 9 people have vanished without a trace on the 108 square mile Caribbean island of Antigua. Thank you. Antigua, home to only 100,000 people. It's not a very big place. These disappearances include 74-year-old Hyacinth Gage, who disappeared in May of 2019 after a hospital visit, and 8 others, predominantly men ages 18 to 76, reported missing between 23 and this year of 2025. Notably, 9-year-old Chantel Crump disappeared in March of 2025 and was found dead 2 days later, with a woman charged with her murder. A local individual claims nearly 60 people have gone missing over the last decade, though official police figures are pending. Unlike the neighboring St. Kitts, where most missing persons are accounted for, Antigua's cases remain unresolved, fueling theories of police inaction, gang activity, or organ trafficking. Hyacinth's daughter, Patricia, noted police resistance to volunteer searches, exacerbating distrust. So the police didn't want to help. The island's dense bushland and surrounding ocean may conceal evidence, complicating investigations that lack a local forensic lab. Chantel, the little girl, her case sparked public outrage, prompting calls for a Chantel alert, a system and international aid to address this alarming epidemic of disappearances. Geographically, not a big area. Population is not a big area, so the ratio of disappearing is pretty high. Like if you were to add that ratio to a million, you'd have 6,000 people disappearing. So it's probably crime related.
Yeah, it's a serial killer
or something like that, and the police aren't getting involved. All right, Jace, I do apologize for the pronunciations for these 2 names here that you have.
Who or what killed Tiki Kwanzi and Sendile Sabia on October 5th, 2017? 61-year-old Tiki, unable to walk after abdominal surgery, vanished from his room at Stellenbosch Hospital in South Africa's Western Cape. A nurse briefly left him alone, returning to find him gone. 13 days later, his body was found in an isolated hospital ceiling. An autopsy cited natural causes, but how he reached the ceiling remains unexplained. His family, once contacted by staff assuming he'd gone home, still seeks answers.
The next incident was 2 years later, 900 miles away.
On May 10th, 2019, 53-year-old Sendile Sabia, immobilized by a broken femur, disappeared from a Durban hospital before a planned transfer. After 2 weeks, a foul odor led staff to his decomposing body in a storeroom ceiling on May 25th. Like Tiki, Sabia couldn't have moved himself. Investigations provided no clarity, leaving both families without answers about these baffling and horrific incidences.
So both were stuck on the ceiling, killed and put in the ceiling. Now, granted, they were 2 years apart and 900 miles apart, but what an odd hospital death. If I was a police investigator, I would look into who transferred anyone from this hospital to this one, right? What do you think?
That's a lot of work to lift a dead or
would you just throw the dump or something?
Lift a body into a ceiling.
Yeah. And then plaster it all up or whatever. Or,
Hospital staff.
Do you think they're dumping their own bodies in there? Well, why put it in the ceiling though? Why did something happen? Some malpractice maybe, or I don't know.
Abuse of people who are immobilized. You know what I mean? You sadly hear these stories of people abusing those that are unable to defend themselves in hospitals, old folks' homes, care homes, and it goes too far.
Yeah.
And then they panic and they go like, how you can lift a dead body? Like, that's a lot of work. Like, it's hard, right? Say it's 150-pound bare minimum adult, and to drag that up into a ceiling.
If you're going to kill someone, there's got to be an easier way to kill and dispose of a body than put it in the ceiling. And this stink's going to stink.
And do they have no cameras in these hospitals?
Probably not. I don't know. But good question. All right. Now, this is a fun one. I know this one's kind of weird, but these are basically unsolved mysteries, unresolved incidents, the hodgepodge from the supernatural to the natural to the criminal. Just fun to talk about certain stuff. I admit, when I put this list together, Jay, I was just like, it's just fun to talk about these things. And hopefully we didn't go off tangents too much, but that's the nature of the topics we kind of did in its own way. Yeah, my worst pick, we'll go over the list, but I'll tell you the reasoning. It might help you with your reasoning, and maybe we'll even make you pick the same thing. Here's the list, folks, just as a reminder. So we have the humming on that little island, Isle of Lewis. We've got the Denmark tremors. They're, the ground's shaking, but they don't know why. We've got that missing boat that went off with unnamed people. Another boat came back with 20 dead people. We have the AI robot freaking out, doing chop suey on its makers. We have the poor young woman who was killed 8 days after her wedding on her honeymoon by her husband and gay lover, is our presumption, which is almost pretty obvious, but we think shady police work. Just it's too late now. We got the haunted house, the Woods house, haunted house. It was featured on Unsolved Mysteries and Larry King Live. We got the poor train derailment, sabotage, possibly, though it's not confirmed, or nobody was caught. We have people disappearing off a small island in the Caribbean in large ratio numbers to the population. And then lastly, we have 2 people killed in a hospital, 900 miles apart, 2 years apart, but disposed of in the ceiling the same way. All right, Jay, my worst pick. So the one that I think is the least whatever, so this is why it's my worst pick, is the chop suey robot. I think at the end of the day, it may have just had its wires crossed or some sort of, I don't think in that moment that the robot was going crazy with its arms and flailing, though it makes for a great story, that it was truly trying to harm in its computer brain its maker. I think that makes for a great headline, the show. I think it just went nutsoid. I think it just went whatever, mechanical failure. It just, oops. Maybe it's just running or trying to jump, but the program's sped up. It wasn't trying to legitimately harm the maker. It was just not computing properly. That's why I think this is the easiest one to explain. So that's why it's my worst pick, because of all these unexplained phenomenon and or incidences, whether it's true crime or natural or supernatural, this is the easiest one for me to debunk or answer, in that it was probably just faulty wiring and it wasn't truly trying to harm its makers. Jay?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, visually it's intriguing, but also visually it just looks like a robot going weird. Technology malfunctions all the time. There's nothing malicious about technology going, your phone sometimes has to have turn the power on and off. It glitches.
Right.
And as soon as they were able to power it off, it stopped. Be curious to see what the restart looked like again. Did it do the same thing?
Yeah, we only got that portion of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a malfunction and not really an AI doing its thing.
Fair enough.
Yet.
Yes, it's coming. It's coming, folks. All right. Well, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this hodgepodge of topics or subjects within the topic of unsolved or unresolved enigmas in the world. Stand by for our next episode. Remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And for today, for both of us, not often we choose the same one. It was the Terminator.